This ongoing discussion about emotional intelligence, it covers our entire life. How many human beings out of millions of people out there want to study themselves, want to study how emotions value themselves in our life, and how emotionally do we go wrong, and how our own emotions, play with us and our mind. And due to the fact that we don't have enough knowledge of our own self, of our own emotions and feelings, and the right conduct that we must carry, our demeanor and the way we conduct ourselves, and our boundaries, our liberties, and then liberties of others and boundaries of others, we never get to know. We take it for granted. Our life is messed up because we don't know anything about ourselves. We don't know how emotions work. We don't know how emotionally we are charged up and how emotionally we are sometimes feeling very, very lowly. But this emotional intelligence, even though the discerning experts on this subject lack a lot in what they describe as emotional intelligence. And the description of emotional intelligence that I put forward in front of you is not based on what people study in the universities. My discourses on these subjects come from a divine source. His Holiness, His Divine Eminence, Sarkar Gohar Shahi. And every day I learn a new thing in spirituality. My emotions, my feelings, my inability to understand things without Sarkar's help, and my spiritual disability tells me just one sentence: we can never thank Sarkar Gohar Shahi enough. We can never thank Sarkar Gohar Shahi enough for everything Sarkar does for us, for every different type of knowledge that Sarkar fills our heart and our mind with. There is no Sufi, there is no spiritual man besides you and me that have been given a cocktail of knowledge. We have been so lucky. What do you think? We have been so lucky. And these are the emotions when they are not controlled. Emotions are like waves of ocean. Emotions. And we say to ourselves, so strong we are. I am this, I am that. But these emotions, move our entire being from one point to another. And we are just going with the flow, with the ups and downs of emotions. We have no control. Although we say to ourselves, I'm a very strong man, but our strength is only deceptive. We're just fooling ourselves. But emotions, when emotions hit you, no matter how strong you are, you cry like a baby. You cry like a baby. What I do not want to happen to you or me is that we do not want to get entrapped in any emotional complexes, right? You do not want to get entrapped in any of the emotional complexes. There are mainly two complexes, according to psychological sciences. But my discoveries are far greater than that. Two complexes: complex of being superior and complex of being inferior. And Sarkar said both are wrong. Both are bad. You shouldn't have any complex. Now the question is, why some people suffer from superiority complex and the others from inferiority complex? The psychology doesn't have answer to this. But those who have very strong ego, more often, they are the ones who get entrapped by the complex of superiority. You know, one person in my life been very close, and I told that person, why didn't you go to school? Had you been to school, you would have been a better person. And that person told me that the reason why we did not go to school in Pakistan was that our father was concerned that we must get to eat meat every single day, because he feared after the marriage of the daughters, when they live in other houses of their husbands, maybe their husbands cannot afford to provide them with meat. So this was on their mind. So eating meat was the prime object, not the education. And you know why? This comes from superiority complex. And there are so many families, maybe 90% of the families in Pakistan think like that, especially in rural areas. We are going to see how our emotions shape up to form a complex. Complex is a set of more than one thing. Our emotions, feeling of joy when we achieve something, and feeling of sorrow and sadness when we fail. But in some people, when they fail, they don't simply have feelings of sorrow. They have this strange feeling of rejection. And if they fail again, the trauma, emotional trauma that they go through doubles the pain and sorrow. And when they fail for the third time, all the pain, all the sadness, the sorrow, and the feeling of rejection, they all get muddled up and form a complex. And this complex oftentimes is duly aided by depression. Those who suffer from superiority complex don't think they're always happy. They're not happy. Their superiority depends on phraseology only. They're just chatterbox. When they speak, they will tell you they're better than you. What Sarkar Gohar Shahi has said is very simple. Sarkar Gohar Shahi said, neither superiority complex is good for you, nor inferiority complex is good for you. Then what should you do? His Holiness requires us to be as we are. When we do good, say thank you. When we do bad, sorry. I won't repeat the mistake. Simple. What is it? This is reality. Emotional complexes as I assume, are fantasies. Do you understand? Fantasies. We're just thinking we are good. Sometimes you're good, but you're thinking, I'm bad, I'm bad. You think you're bad. You know why you're bad? Because you're declaring yourself bad without even calculating your bad things and your good things. You assume you're bad and you force it upon you. God has given everybody, I think, equal intelligence. There is a movie called Lucy. Have you seen that movie? Lucy? Yeah? Nobody's brain works more than 15%, or maybe 14%. Some people say 20%. If your brain starts to work 25%, yeah, you will leave all the scientists behind. But they do not know how to increase the ability of brain to its optimum. There is a special green liquid which releases into the womb of the mother when the baby is growing inside the stomach. And that is CH4P. There's a chemical equation. And if that substance is inserted into your body, that will multiply the cells in the brain. For example, if your brain now works 15%, remember, your brain has 100% intelligence stored in it. Right? They say when you study science, it stimulates the brain. And those who do not study science, maybe their brain works only 5%, because science stimulates brain. So 15%, for example, if your brain is working 15%, that's the normal. And if that is inserted in your body, it will multiply the cells in your brain, and maybe it will work 25%. And if your brain works more than 20%, you can control everything with your mind. Have you heard of hypnotism? Yes. When I was in school, I learned hypnotism, to hypnotize, to mesmerize. Yeah? Yes. What do you need? It's very difficult. What you need to do is to absorb either the candlelight, the blue light in the candle, or look at the sun. Don't blink. Look at the sun for 5 minutes. And then increase the time, the duration. I used to look at the sun without blinking for at least 2 hours. Oh. Like this. And honest to God, after that, if I would concentrate on a glass, I would break it. If I would concentrate on your brain, I can make you do anything. And I did that. I swear to God, I'm not lying. And this is when your brain is working in, small digits in comparison to others. If your brain works 20%, you'll become a saint of God. So much power is given to you. Right? Now what happens is, why the brain is not working at its optimum? Because there are 3 layers on the soul of the brain. Latifa Ana. If your Latifa Ana is enlightened and you have seen God, and now this is a secret, honest to God, I swear, those whose Latifa Ana has seen God, Their brain works 100%. They have to control it by doing stupid things. They know things. Do you understand what I said? 100%. 100%. And it's difficult for them to behave like a normal person. And while they try to behave like a normal person, they always make mistakes. And people think they're stupid. So do not think you're bad. Do not think you are lower than anybody. God has given all of you same optimum in everything you have been given, for except your access to Him. For except your access to Him. Because His access to Him depends on how much nearness He wants to grant to you. You cannot be nearer to God more than God desires to be. It's all up to Him. However, as long as the ability of your physical organs is concerned, you're all equal. All you need is to charge up or awaken those extra senses that you have been granted with by God. The complex that you are inferior to somebody or you're superior to somebody is just a mind game. Comes from the society. It comes from the classes of society. Like in India, this is Sudar caste, this is Qadri caste, this is Brahman, this is this, this is that. There are systems of classes in different countries. For example, here we have classes, social classes. How? It's a working class. It's a bus driver. He works at McDonald's. But we can understand that. Why? If you say he's a bus driver, we can understand he doesn't have enough resources to have gone to a university and acquire higher education. Therefore, his level of understanding of life is a bit lower than those who have been granted a prestigious lifestyle. And they have been less fortunate in relation to having access to abundance of money and abundance of opportunities to them. Do you understand my point? And then there are, white collar class. And then there are, upper lip, stiff upper lip class. In normal language, call them snobby. Upper lip. Their upper lip don't move when they speak. Can you speak like that? But Steve. These divisions and these classes are the results of inabilities and incapacities. Sometimes mental incapacity and most of the time financial incapacity. But then it is only 20% of your brain. No human being on earth can cross 20% usage of the brain. Because after 20%, there is a layer placed by God. And once you have seen God, the layer is removed. Forget about his spirituality. If he only uses his brain, he can control the entire world. Honestly. He can control the entire world. Now, before you reach that level in spirituality, where your brain has extended its capacity to 100%, before you reach that level in spirituality, that your brain reaches its optimum. God wants to churn you. Go through the process of self-denial. So in the end, when you discover this divine treasure, you don't own it. You simply say, this is with the blessings of God, I am a piece of shit. You go through this divinely imposed cycle of negation, self-denial. Negate yourself. And God wants to make sure that there is nothing left of you in you when this treasure is finally open up. This is why when people have this ability, they sit there and they look stupid. And you suspect them. Had he had this much power, he wouldn't be sitting here like a stupid. Right? For example, if you tell me I have billions of dollars in my pocket and you're starving and you have no food to eat, you have no place to go to, you can't even buy a loaf of bread, and you say, I am $1 million. I have billions of dollars. People will not believe you. You know why? Because our intellect has only seen few patterns of emotions. When the divine light, what is light? What is light? There are, atoms like neutron, electron. In a similar way, light consists of photon. What is it?
Photon.
Now, there is a body of photon and there is a soul of photon.
Wow.
The body of photons is what we hear, what we can see coming out here and there. And the soul of photon is divine energy that goes in the heart.
Subhanallah.
When the divine energy reaches here, the moment it is completely energized, there is a big bang, like your skull has been cracked open. Big sound. And that is the sound of the eruption of energy, not the skull. Yeah. And then the third eye opens up. Honestly. The third eye
Opens up.
And now you have two windows in front of your eyes. The exterior of people and interior of people. What they say and what they have in their heart. You can see both at a time. This complex of emotions has to be steered in the right way. And that right way is being grateful to the Lord. Do not attribute any goodness to yourself. Do not
Attribute any goodness to yourself.
Because what is in you now has come from God. And it is the attribute of God. So you must attribute all the goodness in you to God. I think our emotions should be based on this. Always our emotions should base on this line, that any goodness that we have in today, in our heart, in us, it is from our Lord. And when you have this emotion, you're successful. Sometimes we just have a little bit of thoughts that come to us, and that is about our standards. And the standards of whatever we're doing, for example, standards of cleanliness, right? We expect same standard of cleanliness from others, but when they don't do it, then we have this sense like, oh, I mean, this is better. Why don't they do this? At least I do it, and I'm proud of it. This is not superior complex. No. This is balanced thought. There is nothing wrong with this. If everybody else is doing wrong and you're doing it right way, it's not superior complex. If you have set standards of cleanliness in the kitchen and people don't follow it, and you say to yourself, why can't they do like I do? There is no ego involved in it. There is no superiority involved in it. It's a simple matter of discipline. People should follow you. And this is where I want to correct you. Sometimes you do not suffer from any complex. You're only doing your job. You're only saying the right thing. But people will steer your attention to a misguided direction and tell you, oh, he is being egoistic. What does he think of himself? This and that. These are negative things. And it comes from those who do not want to correct themselves. Rather, correcting themselves, they put it on others as blame. These complexes are about the thoughts. It can be either, a deterrent for you to learn further. For example, if you suffer from superiority complex, it's like you have shut the door on you. You cannot learn anything else. That's it. And sometimes when you suffer from inferiority complex, you have shut the door. Like I am not able to learn anything. Both complexes are bad. If you have inferior complexity, you shut the doors on you. Oh, I'm not able to learn. And if you have superior complexity, I don't need to learn. But the result is the same. I mean, he's not learning because he thinks he doesn't have the ability to learn. And he thinks he doesn't need to learn. But the result is the same. So both are bad. We have to live a real life. Don't live in fantasies. Don't live in dreams. Even before the creation of computers, a majority of people lived in virtual world, in the world of dreams. Nahin? A last sentence. People set a desired list. Like, I should have this in my life, I should have this in my life, I should have this in my life, and then they call that list of luxury their dream.
True, very true.
And they live all their life in pursuit of that desired list of luxury. And when it doesn't happen, they plunge into the pond of inferiority complex. And by mistake, if they get half of what they have desired, before even the completion of the list, they plunge into superiority complex. Oh, look, this is what I wrote that I would want, and I have got half of this. Just imagine in another 2 years, I would leave this list behind. Do you understand? I mean, you write a list of your desired luxuries, and then you call it a dream. I mean, in Pakistan, the girls used to do that. They would, make a sketch of their life. Like, they should have this, they should have this, they should have this. And then they would fantasize about a prince. A prince riding a white horse would come into our life and screw our life and divorce us in 2-3 weeks. And they daydream. They set a list of their luxuries, write it down, and they dream about it. When it doesn't happen, they fall into the trap of inferiority complex, and when they get half of this, superiority complex. And when they have superiority complex, now is the turn for the entire world to be victimized by them. But you don't want to do that. Live a realistic life. Be a realistic person. Don't make plans. Oh, we will do this, we will do that. Forget about it, man. Don't think about today. Think about tomorrow. I'm not saying stop thinking about good life. Do think about good life. And when it is gettable, go for it. But when you see it is beyond your reach, then don't waste your time. Because you have to do so many things in life. What do you think? Our emotions are often less complex than we think they are. Most people think that the things that have hurt you in life are what cause you to experience emotional pain. And that is in order to heal and experience real happiness. You must resolve those old wounds. The reality, however, is somewhat different. You can only feel emotions, including the painful ones, in the present moment. What you feel in the present moment is determined by what you give your attention to. Nothing can hurt you unless you give your attention to it. Oh my gosh. Nothing can hurt you unless you give your attention to it. If you ignore it, it's not going to hurt you. I think that's true. Nothing can hurt you unless you give your attention to it. Most people can make themselves cry in just a few minutes by simply pulling up a vivid memory of something that was at the time painful. It happens. So why would you give your attention to things that cause pain? But some people become habitual of doing it, don't they? Especially our Muslim brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, especially Shia Muslims, at certain time during the year, they prepare themselves to cry and beat up their chest. They think about it. And all the year round, they forget the incident of Karbala. But then all of a sudden, for the 10 days, they remember it very vigorously. Like that happened, this happened, that happened, this happened. Let's cry. Let's cry. So if you think about the painful memory in life, and you are actually concentrating on it, and you're indulging in the luxury of pain, that's, I think, you yourself blame for it. Avoid thinking about the painful memories of life. What do you think? So most people can make themselves cry in just a few minutes by simply pulling up a vivid memory of something that was at the time painful. So why would you give your attention to things that cause pain? Some negative events can hold your attention if you perceive them to be a threat. But most people who ruminate on a negative past are simply unaware that they are doing it and there is any choice in the matter. Things you are unaware of are outside your control. Learning how to become aware of what you are paying attention to, and more importantly, how to shift your attention to something that makes you feel better, is one of the most powerful tools there is for improving your emotional well-being. Some people are in the pursuit of happiness, but they don't know how to control their emotions. Some people want happiness, but they don't know what happiness is. Don't you think so? Some people think happiness is all about having money. Having luxury? No. Happiness is different from one person to another. Maybe one person's happiness lies in having a lot of money, and another person's happiness lies in his wife being very romantic to him, or maybe dance to him to please him, right? So the nature of happiness differs from one person to another. You must be able to control your emotions. Some people are very edgy. They're very edgy. They're very vulnerable. You tell them, oh, you don't know anything. And they will take it really seriously. They go home, they cry. Or maybe they take their anger out on somebody else. Somebody who doesn't, talk back. So let's promise ourselves that we will not touch upon painful memories of life. One argument may be that, oh no, I think about the painful memory so that I can take a lesson. Take a lesson. Don't think about it every day. Some people become habitual of doing it. Some people enjoy pain. And when they have mastered this, they become complete pathetic person. This is patheticism, to enjoy pain. And they cry as well. They are so pain friendly. They can't live without pain. I'm not joking, honestly. William James, as far back as 1890s, wrote extensively about the relationship between selective attention and experience, making the profound observation that my experience is what I agree to attend to. Modern day cognitive psychologists have demonstrated through research that we are active participants in our process of perception, confirming that what we think and feel is determined by what we pay attention to. What we think and feel depends on what we pay attention to. But does it mean should we ignore everything in life? From a very childhood, I have seen this around me. For example, if my father was a very angry person and he was having a go at me, my mother from behind him would say, she would mean, listen from this ear and take it out from the other. Don't hold it in your head. Ignore him. But there's some of these old people in our life, they used to give us a really wonderful piece of advice, and we would never heed to what they would, advise on. But now we think some of those old people were really genius. It really pays. If you use one ear to listen and other to relieve, it really works. You can't completely turn a deaf ear on some people because they will come back with more rage. Oh, you're not listening to me. I am. And you can swear by God, I am listening. Only hold one ear. I am listening. Look, I am listening. We can ignore it. Some people just put blames on you. If you seriously think about them, you will only trouble yourself. Don't even reply. You feel the pain because you pay attention to. Do you agree? Don't pay attention to stupid people. They will just use their tongue. They can't use it somewhere else, so might as well use their tongue here to hurt feelings of others. What we think and what we feel is determined by what we pay attention to. Not only do we have the ability to shift our attention away from painful things and give our attention to more pleasant thoughts or memories. As we do this, it inhibits our ability to think about the unpleasant, painful things. This happens because attention works on an activation, inhibition model. When you give attention to negative things, it literally inhibits your ability to see positive things. That's really bad. If you're paying attention to negative things, it will almost take away the ability from you to think about positive. You can either think negative or positive. You can't be negative and positive at the same time. That's why psychologists often say people with depression see a more depressed world. People with depression see a more... Those who are depressed, they think the entire world is depressed. Everybody is depressed. Is that true? You think everybody is depressed? People with depression see a more depressed world. The more you start to give your attention to things that feel good over time, the more you will start to see a more positive world, and you will find yourself noticing fewer of the negatives in life. For example, some people are only concerned about bad deeds of others. They're just waiting. And now, since the invention of iPhone, 12 megapixel camera, they're ready to shoot, to show to the world, look how ugly he is, how bad he is. Yeah, when you're a policeman or when you're a lawyer, you think like a criminal. If you don't think like a criminal and you're a policeman, you will never be successful. If you don't think like a criminal, you can never be a good solicitor. You can never be a good lawyer. Because you have to think the way criminals think. Am I wrong?
No.
If you want to love God, you have to think like God does. That's what it is. So we have learned a lesson today. We are not going to pay attention to negativity. Agree? Don't even pay attention to it. Once you're aware, you can do it. Shifting your attention is something you can have complete control over. You can choose what you want to pay attention to, and as a result, you can choose how you want to feel. Wow. If you want to feel good, do not pay attention to negativity around you, and you will feel better. Sometimes I do it, but sometimes I get worried. And I think this is because God wants to remind me that I'm a human being. If I continue to ignore negativity around me, then I'll behave like God. And perhaps, sometimes we want to feel like ourselves, act like a normal human being. Like if something is going wrong, something is negative, we should feel affected, get angry, make noise. And then you make noise and you get angry. There comes a piece of advice from the Lord. Oh, you're a spiritual man. You should not behave like that. Come on, grow up. Ignore negativity around you. Feel good. Do not be affected by the implications of negativity around you. I think it's a better exercise. We should not pay attention to negativity. You agree? Okay. I am not going to pay attention to negativity. Say it. Good. Try this with a friend the next time you are talking with someone who is telling you about something negative that is happening to them. Ask them to tell you about some positive experience instead. Notice the change in their facial expressions. When people start to talk about positive events that feel good, they start to smile. It is an almost involuntary reaction. Does that sound too easy? Here is a tip that will make it even easier. There are only two things in life that you can pay attention to that cause you to experience emotion: things you want and things you don't want. Every single thing that you can think of that cause any type of significant emotion can be sorted into one of those two categories: breakups, job loss, betrayal, death of a loved one, all things you don't want, pets, best friends, birthday parties, getting a raise, all things you do want. You will always know when you are giving your attention to things that you don't want in life, because your emotions will tell you paying attention to things you don't want generates negative emotions. Sometimes we think about our past, we think about people that we do not want to associate. And, we want to follow up with them, like what they're doing, what's happening, what are they doing now. It's painful, isn't it? We should only pay attention to positive things in our life. For example, you can think most of your time, you can think about mission, how to take this mission to different nations of the world, and how do people feel when you give them mission. The pleasure, the spiritual pleasure they experience thanks to you should be a thing of pride for you. Don't you think so? So we only pay attention to positive things, not negative things. One of the most self-sabotaging things that people can give their attention to is an unwanted future. It is self-sabotaging to pay attention to an unwanted future. Nothing in the future has actually happened, and you are worried about future. Nothing. Okay. One of the most self-sabotaging things that people can give their attention to is an unwanted future. Nothing in the future has actually happened yet. Many people spend a good deal of their time experiencing negative emotions like anxiety, fear, and self-doubt because they are giving their attention to things they don't want to occur. Doing this not only robs them of their present moment happiness, but prevents them from thinking about the positive experiences they could instead be creating in their future. Our attention is the gateway to what we experience in life. Our attention is very precious. We should not just give it away to, things that do not deserve our attention. We should not give our attention to people who don't deserve it. We should not give our attention to things that don't deserve it. Rather, they give us pain. So you need to treasure your attention like something really, really costly, something really unique. Your attention is your life. You cannot spend your life like that. Keep your attention very precious and treasure it, and only apply your attention to things that need your attention and will be fruitful for you in life and will put a smile on your lips. Our attention is the gateway to what we experience in life. Learning to notice what you are paying attention to and how to redirect your attention to things you want can change not only your current experience, but also the life you create for yourself going forward.
Aura TV. Guidance brought to you